side note on Michelle Obama, could we just note how overrated she is? And like all the hype around Michelle Obama, oh, she's gonna run for office, and she's just, I don't want to get into the aesthetics of all of it, but the presentation of her podcast is terrible. She's just whining all the time, and she's complaining. Again, I'm not trying to look at people's looks. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying the whole aura of it, to use a Gen Z term, is terrible. It's negative. It's just kind of her lamenting. And then she's obviously, there's problems with her daughters and all that. I don't want to get into that. But we built up on the right. Michelle Obama is going to be the hardest person ever to run against. And her book sold so many copies. And my goodness, you want to talk about the most overrated political hype of a generation? It would go to Michelle.
What happens when Megyn Kelly's cold stare of doom combines with Charlie Kirk's angry forehead? The hard way is how Michelle Obama learns. Her victimization strategy is dismantled more quickly than her podcast became popular. Did you think her sob stories were inappropriate? Rethink your thought. Charlie and Megyn brought a rhetorical wrecking ball instead of questions. This goes beyond simple critique. This is a complete political exorcism. Buttercup, you didn't realize you needed this roast, so buckle up.
Other than the wonderful Megyn Kelly in the United States. Now, why is Michelle Obama whingy? She seems to always be whingy. Why are things so hard for her right now?
I know. I mean, because when you're thinking of victims of this awful world, you think of Michelle Obama and how terrible we've all been to her. This woman is a one-woman destitution derby. Every time we check in on her at her podcast, she is feeling sorry for her.
Let's explore Michelle Obama's enchanted world, where having a staff larger than certain countries and living in the White House is somehow a burden. It's a bad thing. Consider how difficult it would be to live with personal cooks, chauffeurs, stylists, and someone assigned solely to press your trousers. A contemporary Rosa Parks, assuming she had a Netflix deal and worked for the Secret Service.
Awful it is to be married with children.
Just many natural reasons why marriage, infertility, trying to have kids makes things difficult. It's like I try to tell couples, of course it's hard. Just listen to what I said, right? Like it's probably, if you're having some issues in your marriage, it's not you, it's the process of marriage. It's just all hard because guess what happens when it all works out right? You know what you end up with? Babies. Little people with their own sense of everything. They mess you up. You love them dearly, but they're a hassle.
What? I mean, there's something wrong with this person.
Michelle's entire act, it seems, is based on her denial that she ever desired celebrity. She grabs a glittering microphone like Oprah's long-lost sister and launches into another $10 million book tour, saying, "Oh, I never asked for the spotlight." Despite launching a podcast, a documentary, and a plethora of social media interns posting profoundly uplifting messages like, "You matter." This is from the woman who allegedly detested politics and couldn't handle the cameras. How courageous.
And Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, you would have been called racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. And we know you do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously.
Having the audacity to point out that Michelle Obama's alleged depression tour was based on her $11 million Martha's Vineyard mansion, Charlie Kirk appeared to be the last leader of the college Republicans. Not quite energizing Harriet Tubman. You know it's getting ludicrous when even Kirk can't keep a straight smile while Michelle claims she fears for her children. The same kids secured by Secret Service and surrounded by designer prayer candles from Gucci.
It's amazing. Every word she says about Barack Obama is negative. I can't think of her sitting there just waxing poetic about him, complimenting, he's brilliant, he's a great dad, he was the greatest president, whatever a normal wife of Barack Obama would say. Every time she opines, it's something that reflects poorly on him, how he's insensitive, how he's not a talker, how he doesn't know how to relate to people, he doesn't keep the same schedule as she does, and now we're talking about that you can have a bad decade in a marriage?
Like living sarcasm, Megyn Kelly walked in and, with the accuracy of a flamethrower in a yoga class, set Michelle Obama's legacy on fire. Megyn was dissecting her victim narrative like a frog in biology class, but this frog has a podcast and a Netflix contract, while Michelle was out delivering TED presentations about the emotional toll of being required to smile on stage. Not to be forgotten is the time Michelle, wearing a custom Ralph Lauren gown and sipping organic tea, claimed to have woken up in a house constructed by slaves. Let's suppose she was just a tweet away from joining the civil rights movement, even though the only chains she was wearing were most likely expensive jewelry. Let's examine that mansion-sized contradiction, shall we? Megyn is off in the corner, using a magnifying lens. Michelle's work since leaving the White House has consisted of a lengthy TED lecture interspersed with quotes from Pinterest and poignant moments. It's like if luxury real estate and self-help books had a child and called it My Truth. She keeps telling the same story. Poor Michelle is compelled to wave at commoners from the window of Air Force One while dining in upscale restaurants with foreign dignitaries. The trauma.
Women who vote the way their man is going to vote. It happened in this election.
Got it. Republican women are too dumb to make up their own minds about President Trump. They did it because they're men. Told them to, after that ridiculous, remember that ad the Democrats ran with Julia Roberts voiceover? Where the women
I remember.
like
It's our little
secretly...
secret.
Yeah,
Yep,
this is
I
what they think
remember.
of. This is what they think of Republican women.
Of course. I mean, look, first of all, just like the embedded kind of just implied chauvinism that all of our relationships in the Trump world are like we tell our wives exactly what to do. It's like, okay, no, we all have agency, okay? Secondly, I just have to comment on this. She's really lost us.
Her most audacious accomplishment? Transforming salad into a cause. Keep in mind Michelle Obama's nationwide outburst against pizza during the school lunch movement. In the name of health, she swept into school cafeterias like General Broccoli, prohibiting joy and flavor. Everywhere, children were scarred. A student still gets up in a cold sweat over kale chips somewhere. And yet, as if it were the lead in a Broadway production, she turned that uninteresting lunchtime story into a badge of moral superiority. While pupils throughout gazed down at their trays as if they had been given prison food, she was marching through school hallways declaring war on sodium as if it had personally offended her ancestors. What is ranch dressing? Illegal. Ketchup? Limited. Salt? Kids were sneaking it in like little drug lords from the cafeteria, so don't even consider it. Michelle, meanwhile, was giving another keynote address on inspiring youngsters while dressed in a $5,000 outfit and standing on a brightly lit stage. What precisely are they being empowered to do? Cry over gray meatloaf and grow kale on a windowsill?
Obama, I do still worry about my daughters in the world, even though they are somewhat recognizable.
And then she goes, and then you're like, why? What's going to happen to her girls if they're not recognizable? And she goes on a diatribe about the arrests that we're making of illegal immigrants. And that now we all have to live in fear, people of color, because it's a racist Republican Party that's running America now. That people of color, I guess, have to live in fear because we're all a bunch of racists who made her a billionaire and elected her husband president twice. But we're so racist, you see, we could just grab any random person of color in the street and send them off to El Salvador.
The way Michelle turned her vegetarian cause into a PR success, you'd think she was saving the country one cucumber at a time. Building Michelle Obama's brand, complete with Messiah-level moral authority, was always more important than nutrition. Despite eliminating Pizza Fridays, she left with a look that was a hybrid of Mother Teresa and a Whole Foods spokesperson. Charlie Kirk had a field day, sporting his trademark sneer and a forehead designed for political commentary. The fact that the lady who made broccoli a national mandate was suddenly being hailed as a progressive icon astounded him. By transforming American lunchrooms into a dystopian kale experiment, this individual somehow became a deity, as if she had liberated veggies from oppression. The notion that Michelle Obama is still experiencing hardship was the only thing that was more forced upon her than those tasteless bean burgers. Really, who should be lecturing the public about the everyday grind while sipping herbal tea on a private terrace overlooking the beach and surrounded by throw pillows that read, breathe, and gratitude? Oppression is not what this is. With a motivational merchandise table, it's luxury therapy.
But what an insult as Michelle Obama is silent on the stealing of women's championships from men, as if there's just like one issue that we have to hyper focus on. And the Democrat Party tried that this last November, and it failed. So it turns out that there is a lot more issues than that one that Michelle Obama wants us to hyper-focus.
Then there is Megyn Kelly, who arrived on the scene like she had seen too many Michelle Obama interviews and had lost it. Megyn Kelly is the epitome of a snarky eye roll. With the force of a Category 5 roast, she destroyed the pity parade. We understand that you're strong, powerful, and the only one who seems to have survived a minor inconvenience, Michelle, but can we please stop acting like it's a tragedy that you had to live in a castle and wave to people? That was her plain message. Megyn immediately removed the glitz from that expertly chosen photo. Michelle's speeches, those tearful, melodramatic monologues reminiscent of TED Talks, began to resemble expensive therapy sessions with a motivational twist rather than acts of empowerment. What about the cost of the ticket? Just a few $100 to hear someone complain about being too adored, too wealthy, and too photographed. Then came the book tour, which, let's face it, looked less like a literary event and more like a pop star's high-fashion concert run. Michelle walked onto the stage as though she were launching a platinum album rather than a biography. It had all the humility of a Beyoncé world tour, but with 3 times as much preaching and none of the vocals. It had glittering costumes, immaculate hair, and dramatic lighting. Glowing with enough luxury to support a small village, she talked of hardship.
Today's daily dose of Michelle Obama, who has been out there trying to promote her terrible podcast that has absolutely no fan following. And she decided everything she says and does is a complaint. Everything. And so she winds up talking to Tina Knowles, also better known as Beyonce's mother, about marriage and divorce, which is Michelle's favorite topic, one of them at least. Number 1 is how much she hates her time as First Lady. She hated it. And number 2, I mean, you could go either way, how racist the country is and how much she can't stand it. And then we're coming in, at least in the top 3, is her negative comments about her husband and her...
Michelle maintains the appearance of authenticity throughout it all, much like a high-end purse she finds impossible to part with. Even as she glides between Aspen lodges and Mediterranean boats, she wants the world to think she's simply a normal woman navigating life's ups and downs. The truth is revealed on her Instagram. Each picture is a masterfully manufactured moment of fake relatability, such as laughing with friends while sipping coffee in well-kept gardens during prime time. It's not that I'm exactly like you. Rather, I recruited a team to make it appear that way. The inconsistency is nearly remarkable. Michelle Obama has monopolized relatability despite leading a very different kind of life. She has made millions of dollars by giving talks about empowerment from behind velvet ropes, releasing memoirs about her struggles from the comfort of private aircraft, and preaching empathy from penthouses. While cautioning the rest of us about the perils of wealth inequality, the Obamas continue to profit from it as if it were a competitive event. The irony is almost poetry. Michelle will urge people to maintain their sense of reality while standing on a stage decked out in fashionable splendor. Grounded? This individual possesses frequent flyer miles, Air Force luxury, and a residence that appears to have been sketched by a minimalist Greek god. She requires landing gear. Staying grounded is not necessary.
She can't make fun of herself. This has been obvious for years. She's incapable of laughing at her own expense, which is an absolutely dreadful quality in a person. Like, I don't think I could hire a person who works for me who doesn't have that ability.
Craig will say that I don't let them tease me. See, we have a deal, Barack and I, in our marriage, and it started very early. It's like, I can tease you, but you cannot tease me. You know, so when he does, I was like, wait a minute. What's going on here? And he's like, I'm teasing you, right? I was like, none of that.
Because he likes to tease.
Oh my God, yeah. But when me, Malia, and Sasha all of us are together, he doesn't stand a chance.
She wants everyone to perceive her as someone who understands, someone who has experienced the fire, and simply another person attempting to make an impression. This comes from a woman who, while on sold-out speaking tours, physically gets her face sprayed across building sides. Michelle just needs a dimmer switch, not visibility. But the myth endures. The story of the relatable queen who triumphed over life's greatest challenges, like excessive admiration, an excessive number of magazine covers, and the intolerable strain of constant praise. Michelle's main problem is deciding which multi-million-dollar mansion to spend this season relaxing in, while the typical American is balancing food and rent. She maintains, nonetheless, that she comprehends us, that she represents us. In reality, though, she is a walking billboard for poised struggle, clad in deliberate vulnerability and subdued lighting. Somehow, people continue to purchase it. And the holy trinity of stifling criticism is that you are either a racist, a sexist, or envious if you dare to doubt her account. However, Megyn and Charlie didn't agree with the script. They examined Michelle Obama's empire and posed the one question the mainstream media refuses to address. Why do we continue to act as though she is oppressed?
Ridiculous. And the fact that she would try to parlay this into like, I'm so scared, but also super important, but also my daughters are brown, so they're also potential victims because everyone hates brown people. Unless they could identify them as an Obama, in which case we'd be fine because everyone loves us. But as you can watch the wheels calculate in a way that just confirms everything you believed about them.
Every public presentation Michelle makes has become a melodramatic masterclass. She might give a monologue about the challenges faced by women of color in America while enjoying champagne at 30,000 feet in a luxurious plane. Tough. Private Pilates, five-star dining, and Beyoncé performances are all on her struggle playlist. This is inadvertent parody, not a documentary. Let's discuss strategy, though. Michelle's entire brand is a psychological Trojan horse. Conceal the privilege behind a facade of polished vulnerability, allow the media to swoon over her raw honesty, and make money while posing awkwardly on Instagram. This is just marketing masquerading as empowerment. Using a scalpel, Charlie Kirk revealed how every action is planned to maintain her position of moral superiority while earning checks greater than Jeff Bezos's parting deal. She created an empire out of a motivating statement. We go high when they go low. No. She smiles her way through a late-night appearance and sells another memoir when they're low.
But she's aggrieved. She is immersed in a powerful and inescapable sense of grievance.
Do you think it's an attempt to be relatable?
No. She's angry. She's angry and unhappy. I've watched enough of her over the years, and then with this ridiculous podcast she's trying to launch to see she's a deeply unhappy person.
What's happening with people at that level in podcasts? What's Gavin Newsom doing?
He's running for president. That one makes more sense to me strategically. She's like, she should be in her therapist's office. Her brother Craig is not. Oh, he did?
Yeah, what do you think I should?
Megyn didn't merely return the clap. Instead, she issued a scathing critique that could easily cut through Michelle's stack of embroidered motivational pillows. She criticized the selective indignation, the meticulously fabricated grief, and the unrelenting obsession with victimization. Because, let's face it, having a full-time PR team and a glamorous squad does not equate to courage. When it has been approved by Penguin Random House, it is not bravery. Michelle's unofficial second profession as a pop culture oracle is another. She somehow manages to insert herself into every significant event with commentary that seems to have been produced by an algorithm that was trained on influencer captions and Oprah soundbites. A tragedy? And now for the heartfelt Instagram post. A scandal in politics? This is the highly polished but emotionally ambiguous tweet. She seems to be managing a one-woman, international Hallmark card factory. Yet somehow she hovers above criticism with Jedi-level protection. When you attempt to point out a contradiction, you are immediately charged with cruelty. You're told you simply don't understand her story if you challenge it. You are accused of not comprehending the Black experience, despite the fact that she is among the most privileged individuals on the globe. Let's face it, though, the only Black experience Michelle is likely to have these days is a carefully planned wine tasting in Napa and a debate about which property has the finest view of the sunset.
The truth is, if you add it all up, even the year, if the odds were you're going to be married to your partner for 50 years, and 10 of those years could be bad, you'd
sign up for it.
You'd sign up for it.
You'd sign up for it.
And that's really how it works out.
Is it Michelle, it's not. I've been married for 17 and a half years, and not one was bad. I think she and he married the wrong people.
The rest of the media is too preoccupied with curtsying to pose meaningful questions, whereas Charlie Kirk and Megyn Kelly are bringing Michelle Obama's myth into the open. Assuming Michelle is only a speech away from joining a grassroots resistance movement immediately following her private spa trip, they would like to comply. And perhaps the most absurd aspect? Michelle continues to portray herself as the hesitant boss. She claims, "I never wanted the spotlight," as she promotes becoming the light we carry and becoming richer than you. It would be equivalent to twerking in Times Square and declaring that you detest attention. Her whole public life at this point is a master study in branding above content. Her remarks are so well crafted that they could as well be glossed. What about her fans? They devour it like healthy avocado toast in a Brooklyn cafe that is gender neutral. As they scan through her TED Talk schedule and Vogue covers, they murmur, "She's so real." The reality? Michelle Obama's oppression is comparable to that of a Kardashian on a yacht. A $100 million cushion, a fleet of hairdressers, and a Netflix deal are the only things separating her from the typical American. Nevertheless, she manages to say, "I see you," while staring directly into the camera. "You are me, ma'am." Your Wi-Fi stuttering during a Zoom call is the closest you've come to our predicament. Megyn Kelly and Charlie Kirk just held up a mirror without shouting or ranting. No gimmicks, just the uncomfortable reality. Michelle Obama is not an advocate for the oppressed. She is a high-end, inspiring brand, a self-help tycoon wearing designer boots, a meticulously crafted representation of fictitious struggle encased in luxury fashion and shielded by media adoration.